Hi, everyone, and welcome once again to Our Veterans and Their Stories. We're here today with Tommy Campagna, and my name is Christine Shirley. And Tommy has joined us today to talk to us about his years in the service. Tommy, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I wanted to start off by finding out a little bit more about your time in the service. So, were you enlisted or did you get
I
drafted?
volunteered. I joined. I did 23 years reserve, 3 years active duty. Uh, the reason why I joined was I couldn't get a job. When I went for jobs, they didn't ask me my name. They asked me my classification, and I was 1A. And they said can't hire you because if we hire you and train you, the Army's going to get you. So I got so many rejections. I said, you know what, I'm gonna join. And I joined, and they said, well, if you join, you pick where you want to go, and you won't have to go to Vietnam and all that. I said, well, that sounds good.
So you joined the Army?
Yeah, I'm 18 years old, and I believe everything they told me, and that's what I did. I joined the Army. My mother wanted to kill me, but
So what years were you in the Army?
I was in the Army. I joined July 28, 1966, and I got out in May 69.
You remember the months too?
Oh, yeah, 2 years, 9 months, and 19 days.
Wow.
Active duty.
Wow, you remember that to
I was
the
in
day.
Germany for 17 months and Vietnam for 12.
Wow. So, okay, so we start off, what was the country like when you joined?
Our country.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of split. Everybody was protesting about the war. And when you're young, 18, 17, 16, you don't even get into that part of it. But when you get home, that's when you really find out what's going on because you were part of war and stuff like that. And when you come home and you see all these people protesting and the way they treated us, Vietnam veterans, when we came home, it was pretty sad. I mean, they call you baby killers, call you all kinds of names, spit at you. If you were sitting in the airport with a uniform on, they would get up and move. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, I can't believe that the people did that. Compared to now, where everybody's saying, welcome home and thank you for your service, we didn't have none of that. Couldn't wear a hat saying Vietnam veteran either, or a shirt.
So let's start off with your time in boot camp, because you had told me that it left a lasting impression on you.
Oh yeah, boot camp was all about discipline. They pounded discipline into you. So if you messed up, everybody would suffer. If you did something wrong, the whole company would have to do push-ups, stuff like that. Or if you're on your own, you're out on a Sunday. One time there was an officer that passed me by, and I didn't salute him. He made me salute a tree in front of a church for an hour. And I was going, good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Oh my.
That's
So
part of
then the
discipline.
parishioners probably came out.
Yeah, everybody laughing at you too, but
Oh no.
that was the discipline, And the same thing, if you smoked cigarettes, you had to field strip the cigarette. Take all the tobacco out, get the filter, and put it in your pocket. Because if you threw it on the ground and somebody saw you, you had to dig a hole 6 foot deep and bury the cigarette butt.
So what did you dig the hole with?
A shovel.
So you had to go back and get a shovel and
Yep.
dig it?
You dig a hole.
Oh,
And,
6 feet down?
6 feet down. And then if you had your hands in your pockets, they'd make you carry a brick around all day. And if you dropped your weapon, you would have to apologize to your weapon. You would have to take your weapon to bed with you. I mean, it was
And how
all
long
kinds of
was
silly stuff.
how long was boot camp?
8 weeks.
So for 8 weeks, was there anything fun about it or anything that maybe
Not really.
no?
Not really fun. I mean, it was a lot of work. Man. They were always constantly yelling at you, and you have to do pull-ups before you go to your chow, and all kinds of stuff. They make you sing dumb songs,
Oh,
and they used to pick you out if you were. You come from New York, and the drill sergeant will get in your face and say, "Oh, you must be mafia. You carry a gun. You must
Oh,
have been
boy.
a bad guy." And all
Oh,
this
boy.
stuff. So it's all kinds of
well,
stuff.
this is a nice, handsome picture of you.
It's
in the
probably
service?
in basic training.
This was basic training
Yeah.
picture.
Young kid, 18 years old.
Great.
Didn't know what he was doing.
So, Now, after you got out of boot camp, where did they send you?
I went to Fort Dix for training for, I don't remember, 3 weeks for driving a truck and some light infantry training.
And then they shipped you.
I got sick, and I was in the hospital for a week, and so I couldn't graduate my class, so I had to spend an extra week in training, so they gave me it's like infantry training.
Okay.
I stayed with a unit, and then all of a sudden they sent me orders to go to Germany. So I said, well, the recruiter was right. He said you could pick where you want to go. I told him Germany, and I went to Germany. I was there for 17 months.
For 17 months. So we have some pictures of you in Germany as well. So tell us about these.
That's in front of my locker. Everything had to be in a certain way and neat. And if it was out of order, they'd let you know about it.
Okay, and here's another one.
It's sitting on a Jeep in front of our barracks. There's Gazowski Barracks in Karlsruhe, Germany.
So it's Karlsruhe.
Karlsruhe.
And that was where you were stationed for the 17 months?
17 months.
17 months. So what was it like being in Germany? I mean, was there a language barrier at all?
When we first got there, yeah, but otherwise it wasn't that bad. It was nice. The country was nice. The people were nice. And we ate a lot of bratwurst and Monaco beer.
Now tell everybody what the moniker beer was.
Monaco beer, that's what they called it. And it had a porcelain
picture?
flip top on it. And if you didn't call it, yeah, I was in my civilian clothes in front of my locker. Everything I took in front of my locker. And that was probably, this picture here,
Uh-huh.
that was probably when we had an inspection or a Sunday. We were in our khaki uniform. They don't wear khakis no more, but that was a dress uniform.
And the gentleman that's with you,
It's one of the guys from the unit.
do you stay
I
in
don't
touch
even
with
know.
him?
No, not really.
No?
None of the guys from active or Vietnam, none of these guys.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about Germany when you were there.
It was like a 9-to-5 job. We hauled tanks to different cities. Stuff that came in from the United States, we brought them to different units in Germany. We used to haul tanks to different ranges to zero in. When they had a big field thing, every year they send everybody to the field, and we used to have to move tanks from different ranges and stuff like that. So it was pretty interesting. It was nice.
But there was no combat
No,
in,
no
at all.
combat, no,
Okay.
no. So it was like a regular job.
Did you have to go to Eastern Germany
I was in every city in West Germany.
and West Germany?
West Germany.
But never had to go to East
No.
Germany?
No. And what do you call it? No, that was pretty nice. It was nice. The people, like I said, were nice. Countryside was nice. We went to different places, museums and stuff like that.
So what did you do on leave?
On leave, I came home.
Oh,
Yeah,
so they
I came
sent you
home
home.
for I think a week or 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. And did you go to any of the Oktoberfest that they had there?
Yes, Oktoberfest. What do you call this? Oktoberfest and soccer games.
Oh, soccer games, too.
Yeah. And that's when soccer was. Well, I don't think soccer was big at the time, but it was soccer we went to. And it was interesting. Something different.
And I think you mentioned to me you went to Dachau?
Yes. We went to Dachau, and we went there by accident. We were on a convoy, and we stayed over in Munich. And somebody had said Dachau was not too far away. So we went on this truck, and we pulled in the parking lot. They were closing, ready to close. So we went and looked around real fast, and that was, like, unbelievable. It was, they had big piles of millions of unknown Jews, ashes. We saw the ovens, we saw the pits. It was unbelievable, unbelievable what they did to those poor people.
Yeah. At any USO shows?
Yeah, there was a couple of USO shows, but I never seen anybody famous.
So where did they perform? Did they come and perform?
Right on the base.
Oh, right on the base
Yeah.
they came.
Yeah. So nothing. They had a band every week, on a Saturday night, different band, house bands they call them, and once in a while they'd have some named band or something. But
Okay.
nobody famous.
And how was the food on base compared to the food outside the base?
The food wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. It's a lot different now. Now they give you the food is much better. Back then it was okay, I guess. You know.
But you must have preferred.
Well, I went outside a lot too to eat sometimes too, but it was 3 meals a day, so you couldn't complain.
You couldn't complain
No.
about it. So then, what would you think was your most memorable experience when you were in Germany?
Gosh, memorable experience. Jeez. When I got my orders to go to Vietnam,
Okay.
that I'll never forget.
So tell us what happened with that.
Well, they called a formation at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they said the levy came down for Vietnam. And they said 3 people are going to Vietnam from this unit. And I said, that ain't going to get me.
And how many people were in the unit?
About 250. And they started reading off the names, and I was the first name they called. And I said, oh my
Oh
God.
no,
Yeah.
oh no.
Me and 2 other guys. So
Now, did you tell me about President Johnson?
President Johnson, he's the one that started this levy. And so I went over as an individual, not as a unit.
And what does that mean?
So I went by myself to Vietnam. I didn't go with a unit with
Oh.
like 100
Oh,
guys,
no.
200 guys. So and that's what was different about it. You know, I would have much preferred going with a unit. And I know a lot of people that went over by boat. So I was lucky. I was on a plane when I went to Vietnam. It was about a 22-hour flight, but
Wow, wow.
yeah, and it was difficult because, you know, here you are, 20 years old, 19 years old, and you don't know what's going to happen. My parents, my aunts and uncles, they all took me to the airport, and I just climbed them steps and got into the airplane. Didn't know what to expect.
So when you joined, you probably never thought you were going to.
No, I never thought to go to Vietnam. I believed the recruiter. But now I find out later on that the recruiter is going to tell you everything, you know. But hey, it happened, so you know, at least I'm, you know, lucky enough to come back.
Absolutely,
about it.
absolutely. And how long did you spend in Vietnam?
12 months, May 68 and May 69.
And we have some pictures of your job, what you did there. Let's
we
take a
were
look.
Combat heavy engineer
Okay.
unit.
And this was,
That's a scraper
and that was
that was
one of
rolled over. It's it's a piece of heavy equipment.
Let's see what else we have. Oh, here you are, right here in this picture.
Yeah, that's in front of the scraper. That's how big it was.
It's huge.
Yeah, that's the big blade.
So for 12 months, your job was to do what?
Engineer, build roads, put culverts in, bypasses, build bridge.
And how many did you do? that
We
you
did a
recall?
stretch of road called QL1, and it was a nothing road, and we built it up to a highway. So the Americans, everybody used the road, even the Vietnamese used the road. But before that, it was just a dirt road. When we got through with it, it was paved and everything. So
Wow.
it was modernized.
And how long did that take to build?
Well, it just keeps going. I mean, I stayed 12 months, and we must have did about maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 miles, maybe more.
Wow, that's amazing. And this is a picture of you. Okay. Tell us about this picture.
That's when I first arrived in Vietnam. They took a picture in front of the unit that I was in, and they sent that home to my parents saying, your son has arrived in Vietnam safely.
Oh, which was nice that they did that.
That
to
was,
let them know.
yeah.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
We used to write letters with anything that you had. Sometimes you didn't have writing paper, so you'd write on a piece of cardboard or something. And at that time, you didn't need no stamps. You just write a letter on anything and just put in the corner where you put a stamp, just put free, and they would get it.
And they would get it.
Yeah.
Did they were able to send packages to you?
Oh, yeah, packages. A lot of people got packages sent from home with, you know, goodies, snacks, and stuff like that.
And
Stuff
how
that's-
did they send them? Did they drop them down?
Helicopters should drop the mail.
Oh, we dropped the mail
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Oh, my. So here's another picture of you. It looks like you guys
That's-
are having a nice
That's
time.
what my friend Wagner.
Okay.
One of my buddies, yeah, he was a comedian.
You guys were drinking beer here, it looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you told me a story about beer.
Yeah, there was a truck that had 3 pallets of beer on it, and it was 90 cases to a pallet,
Oh, my.
and it flipped over on a bypass, so we had to go and retrieve it. and we were picking up the beer and putting it in our trucks, and we kept all the beer. We buried it throughout the whole compound. So on Sundays, if we weren't doing anything, we'd sit and drink beer and read newspapers that were about a month, 2 months old.
But you knew where you buried the beer.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, everybody knew where that
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Now this is a picture of you and
That's by my bunk. That's where I slept in a tent. We slept in a 6-man tent.
6-man.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how about this shot here? There's a group of guys.
Yeah, that's a group of guys in front of a makeshift motor pool. That was a tent where they used to work on vehicles that broke down and stuff like that.
And these are friends of yours?
Yeah, those are friends.
Do you stay in touch with any of them?
No. Matter of fact, I forgot to mention, I met up with 3 other guys about a year after, 2 years after we got back, and we met in Long Branch.
Really?
This guy's parents lived in Long Branch, and he had a yacht, and he had a big house. We had our own room. We spent the weekend together,
Wow.
and that was pretty cool.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah.
That's
and
nice.
that was it. Then we didn't hear from anybody after that.
You hadn't talked to anybody. Well, let's take a look at some of these. You got a lot of great shots. I mean, having pictures in the military like this, if someone had a camera, it's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. It really
know.
is. Okay, what's this one?
That's in country in front of a big tent, probably the motor pool.
And that's you,
That's me.
smiling. There you go.
All 119 pounds of me.
That's what you had said. You were in at one weight and then you lost.
I went in the Army at 119 pounds. I was a skinny little Italian kid from Brooklyn, and I got up to about 140 pounds, 135 pounds. I felt terrific. And then when I went to Vietnam, I was 140 pounds, and come back out of Vietnam, 119 pounds.
Wow.
That's when I got out of the service. So that was pretty wild.
So what were the weather conditions like here?
In Vietnam,
Yes.
120, 130 degrees, and rain. A lot of rain. They had monsoon season where it rained for 40 days.
Oh
And,
my.
but it would rain, and then it would stop. The sun would come out, and you'd be dry. You'd get soaking wet, and then dry out in the sun.
But you told me a story about not being able to take your shirt off that much.
Yeah, when you first come in country, because the sun was so hot, you only take your shirt off like an hour in the morning, or 2 hours in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, because the sun was hotter in the afternoon. Because the sun was so strong, it put big water blisters on your back.
Oh my.
And if you had water blisters, or you had to go to sick call or any problems with it, you can get an Article 15 and get fined because you're destroying government property. We were government property. So
That's amazing.
you had to be careful with that. And then after a while, your body got used to the sun. And you could tell new people that were in country because we had a tan line, like from over here up, all tan. The rest of you was
yeah,
white.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a nice tan.
Wow. And you were out there. Oh boy. And then this is a picture of you as well?
Yeah, there was probably on the side of the road, and there was a little Vietnamese kid.
Oh. Okay, and then this was another picture of you. It looks like in a bunker?
Yeah, I remember, right in front of a bunker. And then you can count my ribs. That's how skinny I was.
Wow. Okay. And how did you guys entertain yourselves while you were there?
Drink beer and read 2-month-old newspapers.
Did anybody have any musical instruments or anything that they could
No,
play?
not really. They had a
No?
band come in a couple of times.
Like did they have USO?
It was a Vietnamese group, so
Oh, that
I
was
wouldn't call it
nice.
USO.
But
USO is American people. These
Right.
are local from the town,
Okay.
I guess.
And then here's another picture of you.
That's in front of the compound we was in.
Oh, this was your compound right
Yeah.
here. Okay. And another handsome shot here.
Yep. Right by my bunk. My weapon hung up.
Okay. And where is this? This is a mountain range here.
Yeah, this is the top of a mountain. We used to run our scrapers on the top of a mountain and scrape the side of a mountain to get fill for the road.
Oh.
It was pretty wild. You drive up this mountain, and there would be a little road just as wide as your equipment, and then you would just turn and go right down and scrape the side of a mountain. That's how you used to get all fill for the road.
So did you see any combat while you were out here?
Once in a while, we more snipers and basically sniping. When you're on the road, you know, stuff happens.
Things happen here. And here you are again, right?
Yeah.
Okay. These are great, great pictures to have. Absolutely. Now this one, you tell me about this one.
Oh, that's when I believe I came home from basic training, probably from basic training before I went to Germany.
Okay, so this was
I
before
was
Germany.
18 years old.
Wow, that's great. And then this one we have here.
Yeah, that's a little party that my parents threw me when I came back from Vietnam out of service.
That's really
I got out of the
nice.
service from Vietnam.
And that's you dancing with your mom,
Yeah,
you
that's me
said?
dancing with my mom. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Very nice. Okay. So any unusual stories that you can think of that happened in Vietnam?
Unusual.
Anything that sticks out in your mind at all?
I had a very bad accident there, which I don't like to talk about. No, just survival, man. That was it. That was the main thing, survival.
So then, you were ready to go home. So
Yeah.
you got your orders to come home?
Yeah, my orders were revoked, and because of this accident, and ended up squashing everything and came home. We settled everything out.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so
Yeah.
then you came home.
Came
And
home.
tell us about your first day when you headed home.
When we cleared out, we went to Fort Lewis, Washington, and the first thing we did, we went to a mess hall, and they had it fixed up like a regular restaurant with tablecloths and stuff, and it said, "Welcome home, Vietnam returnees," and you can get a steak dinner. No matter what time you got to this mess hall, you had a steak dinner. So we got there like in the middle of the night, and they
nice.
had a steak dinner. You had steak and eggs, because you very rarely saw steak in Vietnam. And that's what that was. And then they quarantined us. We had to go through a physical before they let us go. I had a kidney infection. They didn't want me to. They wanted me to stay. I said, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, I understand.
So
Yeah.
I went home, and like I said, when I came home, and I seen people with long hair, bell-bottom pants, and platform shoes, and I said, what the heck is going on? And a lot of war protesters and all kinds of stuff going
Did you
on.
come home in your uniform?
Yeah, they told us not to go home in uniform, and I couldn't understand why. They said because the people are not going to accept you.
Yeah, appreciate you.
But I went on anyway. I went in uniform, and people, like I say, now when you walk into an airport with a uniform, everybody say thank you for your service or welcome home, stuff like that. In the airport, they just pass you up like you were nothing.
Well, we thank you for your service because
Yeah,
we
well,
really appreciate you.
Sometimes I say to people, instead of saying thank you for your service, say, I'm sorry what you went through, especially if you're a Vietnam vet.
Yes.
You know what's great is when the kids come up to you and say, thank you for your service. That means a lot more than an adult says it. Because back then, those adults that didn't go to Vietnam, they were the teenagers protesting.
Oh.
So there's a big
see.
difference
Yes.
there,
Yeah. Mhm.
That's my opinion.
That's fine.
That's
That's
not
fine.
everybody.
But so you told me a little bit about your first day getting home and how you got to your house.
Yeah, I split a cab with somebody, and he got out close to his house, and I didn't have much money, so I got out, and I walked about maybe 3 or 4 miles to my house. Got home, I kissed the ground before I walked up the steps. And I'm knocking on the door and ringing the bell. My father came down with his underwear, no teeth. My mother came down, and we just sat at the table and we talked until this was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
When you got home.
Yeah, and then we just talked until 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, that's
It
amazing.
was unbelievable. It was a nice experience. I mean, being home
Mhm.
and talking about everything that you went through. And,
So did you start work right away once you got out?
no, I stayed home for 3 months, and the first thing I bought, I think the day after I got home, I bought a 1969 Chevelle. Went to the dealer and bought one of those cars. I had to wait a couple of weeks to get it, and I was home for 3 months, and couldn't do much because all my friends were working, and I was home. So I went to work, got a construction job, and when I went to get a construction job, I went for the interview, and they asked me two questions. They said, "You know how to read a ruler?" I said, "Yeah, I can read a ruler." And they said, "Are you afraid of heights?" I said, "I just come home from Vietnam. I ain't afraid of nothing."
Yeah, that makes
And that's how I got the
sense.
job.
Wow, wow. So how long were you there at your job?
Construction, I did about 3 years. I took city tests to get on the city, and took cops, firemen, and sanitation, post office. Sanitation was the first one to call me, so I worked in New York City sanitation for 21 years.
Wow, wow.
And I was out of the service for about 7, 8 years. And when I was working for the city, everybody said, join the reserves because the city pays you 30 days military. So when you're in the reserves, you go away a weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer, and the city would pay you also. So I did that. And my parents, they couldn't believe I went back in the service after everything that happened.
And you went back in for 23 years?
23 years.
23 years in the reserves.
Retired first sergeant.
Wow, that's terrific. And the necklace that you have on, I wanted to ask you about
Yeah, this
that.
is Vietnam service
So
necklace.
people wouldn't know what that means.
No.
So when you first showed it to me, what does that mean?
That means you served in Vietnam.
And it's
Just tells you.
particular colors,
These are the colors of the medals.
the medals. And speaking of medals, we have medals here that I'd like you to tell us a little bit about. So can you bring that over closer and we can show that? Okay. Let's talk about your medals. This is a beautiful setup, the way you put this together.
I put this together
Tommy.
myself, I mean, you can tell,
It's
'cause it's not that sharp. But this is the highest award. This is a meritorious service award. That's the highest award that I've received. This here is the Army Commendation Medal. I've got 4 of those. This is what I was telling you about Vietnam service.
Yes.
This medal, this is a campaign. This is Vietnam service. And this is Army Achievement. I've got about 4 of those. The rest of them, this is good conduct. And they did a service over there in Homedale, the Vietnam Memorial, and they gave us these 2 medals from in New Jersey, state medals
It's
for Vietnam
beautiful.
service. Yeah.
Wow, wow.
And the rest of them, you know,
And this one?
that was Saudi Arabia, the first Gulf War. My unit in the reserves got called up to go to Saudi Arabia. So they sent a headquarters company down to do all our paperwork, to do the wills and all this stuff, insurance. We packed up all our gear, ready to go to Saudi Arabia. They canceled us and they sent the group that did all the paperwork.
Oh,
So,
no. Oh, no. Oh,
yeah, it was kind
my.
of crazy.
Wow, wow. That is something. And these are your patches that you wore?
That's my
The
stripes.
stripes? Okay.
And this is a reserve patch, and that's a engineer patch from Vietnam.
From Vietnam. Fantastic. And you also have some pictures here that you have. Let's take a look at some of these. Now, this is interesting, and this is you in a colonial outfit.
Yeah, I was in a colonial honor guard, and we did a lot of things with this colonial uniform. The,
One of which
the,
you
the
showed
thing,
us
the
here.
biggest thing that we did was Game 3 of the World Series in 1986 for the Mets. We presented the colors. We walked out of center field, right behind second base, and presented the colors, and that was the most thrilling thing I ever did in my life.
Which one is you?
And that
You're
was me
here.
right there.
Oh, my goodness.
And this was Wally Backman. I couldn't think of his name. And he was stretching, and he was running, and he went to stretch, and I thought he was going to run into us. So I started smiling, and they put something in the caption there. But yeah, that was pretty wild. When you go out at a center field and you look, the stands were all full. Well, people looked like this big, and it was like unbelievable.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was a pretty big
That
deal.
must have been amazing. And what year was this?
1986.
1986.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
when I moved to New Jersey in 1986.
Okay, so these were the pictures in this, and now we have some other pictures here.
Yeah, these were military balls that we went to. That my wife was with me also, and that was my commander, and I was a first sergeant.
And you still stay in touch with him?
Yeah, I stay in
Commander?
touch with him. Matter of fact, I'm going to see him on the 30th of September. He was my commanding officer.
So you're just going to get together with him, or is there
We
anything
we have a
special?
little get together of a unit that I was in, 411th Engineers unit, and we get together once a year for a luncheon. It's
That's
way out in Long
so
Island. It takes me
nice.
like 2.5 hours to get there, but I'll try and make it.
Oh, that is so nice. And then here's some other pictures we have here that we were talking about. Let's see. Let's pull these up.
Yeah, this is I believe a helicopter pad we were making in
Now this is in the reserves,
yeah,
right?
in the
Okay.
reserves in Panama. We
So
did
you
some.
went to
Oh, there's a
Panama.
landing strip. Yeah, we did helicopter pads. We built the obstacle course in Panama. Did a lot of work in Panama.
And how long did you spend in Panama?
We stayed 2 weeks at a time. They sent over 2 cells. We did a obstacle course. So I went on the first cell. We did half the obstacle course in 2 weeks, and then the other half came in after us.
And this is part of it too, this one?
Yeah, that's a bypass that we put, a culvert that we put in, and we built that wall. And these are all my guys. These guys.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they were
That's
hard
amazing.
workers. Yeah.
Wow. And how about this picture here?
This is helicopter pads we built. And I used to, even though I was their boss, so to speak, I was their platoon sergeant, I used to jump in and work with them. So I had a good rapport with my guys.
Are you in here in this picture?
Yeah, that was me, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
with my
here
hat
you are.
backwards, yeah.
Okay, digging with the shovel. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Okay. That's great.
I know, we had a good rapport with my guys. This is Washington. Every time you leave summer camp, annual training, you make sure all your vehicles and everything is clean, mud
Cleaned
off.
off.
So that's what it was. We were cleaning
This
our
is
stuff.
terrific that
get
you
ready to go
have
home.
so many pictures to share with everyone. This is amazing. And have you been to the Vietnam Memorial
Oh,
in
yeah.
Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you found any of your friends on there? On the
No,
wall? No?
because, no, mostly New Jersey. I went to the one in New York. They have a little one in New York, but this one in Jersey is big. It's nice.
And, okay, so this picture would be?
This was another, we did a lot of parades on the Honor Guard. And then, like I said, we used to do the colonial stuff also. So it was with the reserves, Honor Guard, and it looks like one person, but there was 6 of us right behind them.
It's
So we-
amazing. You can't even see
Yeah, we did
that.
a lot of training to make everything sharp, all the different commands and everything. It was pretty good. And we did the Columbus Day Parade in New York, I think 2 or 3 times. Did a lot of stuff in Long Island, New York.
Then, would you feel that your experience being in the service had changed you in any way?
Oh, yeah. It's, made me realize what a great country this is.
Absolutely.
And a lot of discipline. I think it made me a better person. And don't take nothing for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, people complain about this country, but you got to go outside this country and see what's going on, and then you'll say, boy, I'm living in the right place.
I agree with you 100%. Is there anything, we have letters of accommodation here.
Yeah,
You have
from
some
generals.
letters.
That was like from Fort Colby, Panama, and Korea we went to. Letters of recommendations to the job we did.
And here is even
That's
an
that
article.
That's that construction job. Some lady followed me around. I took her to different job sites, and she wrote this article about me.
That's wonderful.
Explained all the jobs that we were doing and stuff. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
This is great. Is there anything that you might want to add that we didn't cover?
No, we covered basically everything. It's just that when I came home from Vietnam, I didn't expect.
Did you
to
join
treat-
any VFW?
Yeah,
halls?
I joined the VFW about maybe a couple of years after I got home. It wasn't for me because there was a bunch of old guys, all World War II guys. They wanted the fresh young blood. They wanted you to do all kinds of things, fundraising stuff, and I wasn't into that, so I didn't. But now I'm in the American Legion, the VFW, and the DAV. And I go to meetings when I can.
That's wonderful.
I don't want to get too involved because I got a lot of other stuff that I do. I'm involved with my church. I have a hot rod. I go to car shows. So I'm trying to live my life, you know, and do a lot of things with the family.
That's terrific.
I got 7 grandchildren,
Oh boy, wow, that's
3 kids and
wonderful.
7 grandchildren,
Wow.
and 1 great-grandchildren,
Oh wow,
grandchild, yeah.
that is
So that's pretty
terrific.
exciting. So, and being retired, you get a chance to do more things, and you know, like pick up one of the kids at the bus stop, or have to babysit because one of the parents are working. So that's the best part of being retired is the grandkids. You know, my wife and I, we babysit the grandkids a lot. And it's great. It's good.
So, and do they have a chance to take a look at
Well,
what
they're
you've done in the
still
past?
young. They don't understand it. My when my daughter was in school, grade school, she, bring your father to school thing. So I went in my army uniform, talked about the army. In grammar school, the kids really didn't understand. I did something in high school, Howell High School. My daughter was in Howell. All 3 of them were in Howell High School, and I did some presentation, and I had my uniform on, and it was an assembly. So I did the morning one, then they made me stay to do the afternoon one. But when I did the grammar school one, I had my uniform, I had my medals on.
Mm-hmm.
The kids, I don't think they were paying attention to what I was saying. They were just focused in on
On your
my uniform. So
medal.
that was
Do you
pretty
still have
amazing.
your uniform?
No,
What
they probably
happened?
don't fit no more either.
But do you still have it?
No,
No.
no.
Well, that's terrific.
But that was it. But it was an experience, and I think everybody should go through it. I'm not saying go to a war, but I think the Army, the Air Force, whatever, is a great experience for young guys today, especially if you can't get a job out there. Let's say go in service. And, think positive.
Well, Tommy, we thank you so very much for
Yeah.
your service and for coming on the show today and telling us your fabulous story. I really appreciate that, and I know our viewers do as well. And to everyone out there, thank you once again for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate all our service people, and active and inactive, and we encourage anyone that wants to come on to please share their story with us, and we would love to hear from you. Until next time, God bless you all, and God bless America. Thank you.